Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply. Let's make a shoulder pad, or I tend to call these strap pads. There are so many things to say about these. It's a project we never think about, but so many aspects to these. Well, first off, easy project. Secondly, nice detail to a project. But the biggest point here, perfect example. When I travel, my briefcase, I've got a heavy laptop, chargers, catalogs, pads. After 5 or 6 hours in an airport, my shoulder's killing me. Well, let's distribute that weight over a larger area. It's going to make all the difference in the world. Now we're talking about a briefcase here. That's just the beginning. Say a work belt or tool belt when we've got suspenders on, all the difference. But also purse, bag. How about a rifle sling, backpack? Again, so many ways to go with this. But at this point, how about more strap, less flap? All right, so anything I use in this video, weaverleathersupply.com or check below. We've got links there, going to take you straight to the website. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So let's step over to our pattern table, get started. We're not going to go into any great detail on our dimensions here. Well, actually, there isn't any great detail. It's only 3 measurements. Well, let's start right here. We've got a digital pick, but let's get a feel for this because everything's going to fall into place, and we're actually going to build our pattern from one oblong. So right here, I've got a 1.5 inch strap and a 1 inch strap, basically our 2 common strap sizes. So let's start right here. 1.5 inch. Well, obviously, we're going to need a 1.5 inch oblong. Let's draw that in, okay? From the edge of our oblong to the edge of our leather, I want 3/8 inch, give or take, about 9.5 millimeters, because right here we've got an 1/8 inch for our stitch line. Let's give that a little extra room so that leather is not so tight on our strap that we can't weave that through. Now, between our oblongs, we can go with whatever we want. Right here, to me, proportionally, it looks good if we go 1.5 inch spread, okay? We need 4. We're gonna go in, out, in, out. So therefore, when our strap bends around, it actually holds the ends of the pad. So let's go a little extra distance there. We're simply trying to distribute the weight from the strap. So let's go 1 inch from our oblong to our edge. Well, there's all of our dimensions. Outside dimensions there, 2 1/4, or about 5.7 centimeters, 6 1/2, or about 17.14 centimeters. Okay, we've got a feel for this. Let's look at a digital pick. So on the top, there's everything we just talked about, 1.5 inch spreads, 3/8 of an inch, and then 1 inch. On the lower, proportionally smaller for a 1 inch strap. So 5 1/4 by 1 3/4 inches, or about 13.3 by 4.44 centimeters. Now down here, what we're gonna do, let's come in a little bit. We're going 1 inch up here, but down here, let's just come out 3/4 of an inch. Looks a little bit better, and again, proportion plays a lot in this. For our spread, let's drop that down to 1 1/4 as opposed to 1 1/2, and then right here, the same 3/8. So all told, it's a very simple pattern, but again, make it your own. Use this as a jumping off point. Okay, let's jump over to our main table, cut some leather. The best and worst thing about leathercraft, there are so many possibilities. Even with a small utility project like this, so many ways we can go. Well, let's boil it down. Let's make it easy, get a feel for these. So there are 2 things I'm looking for in my leather for my pad. Well, first off, weight-wise. 3 to 4 ounce, maybe a 4 to 5 ounce. Now we can go heavier, but the problem is this is going to be 2-ply. So therefore, the heavier we go, the less this is going to want to bend around our shoulder. It's not going to be incredibly comfortable. The second thing I'm looking for, I want a little body to this. This is our deer tan cow, so one of my all-time favorite chrome tans. The problem here, notice how supple that is. That's not going to be any help at all distributing that weight across our shoulder. Suede. Perfect way to go for a pad. We use suede on saddle seats or mouse pads because it's got a little bit of grip to it. Well, we're leather crafters. The budget, it's always an issue, so I don't want us to feel like we have to have 2 different leathers to make our pad. Now with the veg tan, we can always dye our pad in the same color as our project. That's going to be beautiful. Let's just keep that weight a little bit lighter. Now we're going to go with our Pioneer Chrome. Love this leather. This hits both points. First off, we've got a little body to that. But secondly, that's about a 3 to 4 ounce. Just right. Okay, so let's reset here, cut some leather. We're going to cut 2. We're going to cut a face and a back. On our face, let's cut this right to size. On our back, we'll overcut this, trim to size. So let's mark here for our edges, our oblongs, and then let's cut this piece out. Good. On our back piece, let's just cut about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And there we go. Okay, so on this piece, we need to punch oblongs here, but not on our back piece. I've done that before. So let's jump over to our punch table, drop in our oblongs. We're going with a 1.5 inch strap, so obviously 1.5 inch oblong. This is our master tool oblong, and I love these punches, high quality tools. Now, if we're new to leather, we're not up to speed with our oblongs yet, all we have to do is punch 2 round holes and cut between. Not terribly difficult, not perfect, but actually it looks pretty good. So over here, let's just do our best to center this left to right and to make sure our oblong is level. Well, there we go. That doesn't look bad. All right, let's jump back to our main table, add some double-sided tape to this. There are a number of ways we could bond our 2 pieces together. Now, don't want to add glue to everything. We just want it on the side so our strap's going to slide through. But our Leathercraft cement is great for leather. Well, leather's great for glue because it's very porous. But something I absolutely love, our double-sided tape. This comes in 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch, but super strong. Now, it's not going to be great for our heavyweight leathers. It'll work, but for our lighter weight, absolutely. So on our piece with our oblongs, let's drop in our tape on all 4 sides. Good. So let's take this piece, lay that on, and we don't even really have to line that up. We've got ample room all the way around. So let's lay that down and press on our tape. Well, that's perfect. Nice bond on that, okay? So, new blade or sharp blade every time. I'm going to use the body as my straight edge. Good. Look at that, clean cut, just what we're looking for. So right here, let's round our corners. Okay, that looks pretty good thus far. Now, we're going to hand sew this. We can absolutely sew this on a machine, but if we don't have a machine, I'll hand sew with you. So let's go with our groover. I'm going to set this at exactly 1/8 of an inch. Let's groove lightly all the way around. Well, that looks good thus far. Let's step over to our punch table once more, drop in a chisel line. Our chisel line and stitch should be quick and easy on this project. We can always go with our diamond chisels. They give us a beautiful hole. In fact, 4 different stitch lengths there. But what we're going to do, let's jump back to my favorite, 1/8 inch flat. Now on our groove, we went rather lightly. Say with a veg tan or something, we're actually cutting into that, creating a groove. But right here, we don't really have that. So I'm just going to do my best to line this up right in that groove line. And let's lean our chisel out just a little bit. I don't want to run the risk of getting too close to my edge, or worse, coming out of my edge. There we go. I can feel tines all the way across. And always the problem, never going through. It's always coming back out. But let's just rock that out easily. Okay, looks good thus far. So next, first tine, last hole. Drop in that groove. I can feel tines, good. When we get down to a corner, this is the hardest place to keep our stitch line consistent. So let's do this, our last tine. Let's drop that in. Now, over here, let's just mark where that next tine's supposed to be. Then let's jump over to our single. Good. Now let's mark again with our double. That's where our next chisel line needs to be, so let's drop that in from there. Easy enough. And mark for our last. Look at that. That's going to sit down in there perfectly. Okay, that was easy enough. Looks good. Let's jump over, knock a stitch line into this. We go through this on most every video, but again, for the folks that are new, just the high points. So my trusty sewing pony, this is a big help. Now, what I'd like to do when I get this, I want to add a little leather right here, just to protect our project so we don't ding those on a hard edge. But also the biggest help here, a little bit of tape around our lever, because every time we sew, our thread's going to catch it, release our project. It gets very frustrating the first time, but 4 or 5 times later will make you absolutely nuts. Okay, so on our thread, with our needle, we're going to go with the John James number 18. That's my favorite size needle. Right here, our Ritza. Love this. All kinds of beautiful colors. Since we're going with a lighter weight pad, let's go with a 0.6 millimeter, and let's go with brown. That's going to be a nice touch. So with our saddler stitch, I'm going to go about 3 times my length. So the rule of thumb here, first hole, 1 needle. Let's bring that through, equal out the length. On our second hole, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead from my top grain, or from my front side, because if we think about it, our chisel, we chisel from this side, so therefore this hole is more funnel shaped. On the back side, it's going to pucker a little bit more. So let's lead from this side, open that hole up, and that back needle just falls right through. So let's come halfway through, make an X. I'm going to move my fingers from the eye to the tip, and let's draw that through. Good. Now let's give that just a little bit of tension. I want to see that thread sink down just a hair. Yeah, sorry for the dye on my finger. I've been trying to hide that the entire video. Yeah, like we all don't have that. Anyway, so on our next hole, let's do the same thing. Both needles, make an X and pull that through. Tighten that down just a little bit. If we give this too much tension, it's going to ripple, and we don't want that. So let's sew all the way around. Now I said let's go 3 times our length. Well, I'm thinking we're working with a lighter weight leather, but when we put 2 of these together, that's almost an 8 to 9. So maybe let's go 3.5. Now when we're coming down to our end, we don't have a great place to hide a knot. So let's tie a square knot inside a hole. Very easy to do. So with our square knot, what we're going to do is we're going to go right over left, circle around, left over right, circle around. Okay? So let's come through our last hole. And what I'm going to do, notice my right needle is over my left. So let's push that through. Now let's circle around that thread. Draw that in. Okay. Now left over right. So let's push this needle through. Our left is over our right. Bring that through and circle that around. There we go. So now we actually have a knot inside the hole. Now, this does not have a lot of stress on it, so that's not going to pull out. But let's put our knife right next to our leather. Let's try not to cut into the leather. Same on the back. Well, that looks pretty good. One more step. Let's jump over to our punch table and hammer down our stitch line. Notice I'm a little bit wavy here. Well, it's hard to get exact tension on every stitch, but we do what we can. So with this, let's hammer down our stitch line. It's going to close down our hole. It's going to spread that stitch out a little bit. We can always go with our mallet, but if I go this route, I want to use this part of the mallet so I don't ding my leather. Well, that looks good. Now, to me, chrome tans typically don't hand sew as well as veg tan. We've got a lot of body here, so that makes a very pretty stitch line. But nonetheless, for hand sewn, that does not look bad. Let's jump over to our main table, see how this works. Oddly enough, we have a briefcase from a previous video in exactly the same leather and color, 1.5 inch strap. Well, that fell together for us. So when we're forcing our strap through the pad, it's going to be a little bit stiff. It's brand new. Well, at the same time, I don't want this so loose that it easily slides around our strap. So let's work that through. Good. A little bit tight, but not too bad. And again, that's going to loosen up. Well, how about that? All told, Extremely happy with that pad. Let's put this on, see if it works. Well, that looks good. It fits on the strap well, and the best part, I can tell a big difference right off the bat. My heavy laptop, no longer an issue, and we can go so many places with these. I hope your strap pads are both comfortable and beautiful. Good luck with your projects.